Hi, authors. I'm going to go on an unfiltered rant right now after this last call that I've had because it exemplifies what I have said privately. It exemplifies what I talked about publicly about my issue with hybrid publishing in the industry. And like this author, and I'll get into it in a second, this author is in trouble and is going to have she has a lot of work on her hands, and it's a big problem for her book right now. And it could have all been avoided had, when in the onset, she known differently. So here's the scenario, just to set the table. Hybrid publishing is between self-publishing and trade publishing. Trade publishing is when an author is paid in advance. Could be $3,000, could be $10,000, could be $15,000, whatever. And in exchange, you give them your book. They will edit, produce, publicize everything, your book, and it goes on shelves. In traditional publishing, they make all of the money. They pay authors a small royalty on every book sold. That's traditional publishing in its purest sense. Then we have self-publishing. Self-publishing is where authors should never be doing this alone. But when you purely self-publish and you hire a team, you make 100% of your royalties. You own your files, you own your password, you own your accounting. You make 100% of the royalties. That's pure self-publishing. Then there is this unregulated part of the industry called hybrid publishing, where authors will pay hybrid publishers a chunky amount of money, not dissimilar to self-publishing, but they pay a chunky amount of money for somebody to be their publisher. And what they pay for ultimately is to be able to say, my publisher, and they have a team, etc. Lots can go really well in hybrid publishing, except for a hybrid publisher controls your accounting, they control your copyright, and they control your files. So even if they're like, here you go, have your PDFs, they're your PDFs that can't be altered without going back to your hybrid publisher. The same can go for print books with a lot of these hybrids. Sometimes they're like, you can order your print books from me. And the key here is they control your royalties. So that means that when you get written a royalty check, it's not directly deposited into your account from Amazon, bookstores, etc. It's directly deposited into your account from a hybrid publisher or that publisher. Now, this is what's just happened. A company, they're a Canadian hybrid publisher, apparently, called Ingenium Books. I've heard of them, I had heard of them. They recently did a mass firing of their team and have closed their shop. This author that called me had published using them. And what the consequence of this now is, when a publisher closes their doors or a hybrid publisher goes bankrupt, which has happened with a couple of huge shows in the US, guess what goes with them? The books, the royalties, the files, the team, the access to information, all gone. So now this author, they've sent all of their authors notes to say, by the way, any royalties that you've made in the last quarter, not paying those out because we're bankrupt. Here are your PDFs. You can alter them. You can no longer use the copyright page because it's inaccurate, which now means that the author has to have them redesigned and laid out. And it means that their listing on Amazon is controlled by the hybrid publisher that has now closed the doors. So there is going to, anybody who goes and buys that book is going to, it's like being deposited into, like, I'm not sure where it goes now, but it never will end up in the author's lap. And then she was asking, well, what do I do about print books? I've got 25 events coming up. I'm like, well, where did you order your books from before? Like, how were you getting your print books before? And she's like, my publisher. So now this author has no publisher, has no way of getting a hold of anybody, and she has all of these events coming up. She has such good book marketing. She has hundreds of reviews on Amazon, and she's not going to, the amount of work now to have this shifted into either a new imprint for her name or whoever she chooses, and to have money, like, it's such a mess because this person has essentially walked away with her book. Or not this person, I should say this company, because it's an entire show. So, like, that is the problem with hybrid publishers. When somebody else is controlling your accounting, controlling your files, and controlling your passwords, and how you are able to get your own content. That's why I believe that hybrid publishing will not last in the industry. As long as people continue to learn and hear about these stories, there's really only two options for authors. It's either traditional publishing or it's self-publishing. The hybrid model is dangerous, it's risky, and it is not future-proofing, because you actually can't get out of a publishing contract and you can't escape if somebody goes bankrupt. And because it's unregulated, it just goes with them. That said, I don't blame authors who've gone hybrid publishing, because how could you know? You're so excited about your book. You're so you can be sold so quickly and so easily on just the gloss of what is possible, and you don't even know what questions to ask. So when you receive a contract, you're like, well, these guys are going to be my partners, they're my team. And if the contract says, oh, you can buy back files for me, it has no ability to say you own everything. You can own your raw files, you can own all of that, and we deliver that. So for example, at TSPA, in true self-publishing, our authors, at the end of our contract, we hand over the raw files for them. So should they decide to go printing somewhere else, should they decide that they want to adjust a file without TSPA's support, those files belong to them, and it's we have no issue handing it over. We don't charge for that. That's just something that we believe, in the truest sense of what self-publishing is, you need to own everything and have access to everything. The other thing about thinking about hybrid and future proofing that needs to just be considered is always well, actually, I'll diverge that comment, because, as I said, I could probably run a whole clinic on it. But the other thing that I'm noticing that this author also just shared, when one of these hybrids closes, or when you hear about any of these industry businesses close, guess what's been happening to her? All of a sudden, a whole bunch of other hybrids have come through and are they've heard that this company has closed, and now she's getting hit with, and she said to me, she's like, I'm getting approached with a bunch of really great publishing offers. And then I'm like, can I just ask, can I go and look at who's offering you this great deal? And I go and look, and it's another hybrid publisher who's trying to poach her files and saying, we'll just offer you a better split. So it's more of the same. It's another small player in the industry who, again, is like, we'll offer you a 50-50 royalty split. And it's of a lower cost to you. So it's the same thing. It's just more hybrids, but they're poaching on each other, and it just feels so dirty, and it feels so disingenuous. Even if a business started off with the right intentions, the thing is that part of their revenue model in hybrid publishing is that you pay them and they make money off of every book that they sell. So it's I understand the business side of it, but on the author side of it, it makes no sense financially. It makes no sense for risk, for control. It's dangerous. It's this whole scenario has just made me come on here and just be like, please be aware of the decision to go with a hybrid publisher. Please be careful when you're being approached by people who call themselves, hi, I'm a publisher and I'd love to publish your book. We do a royalty split. That's not a publisher, that's a hybrid publisher. Or we can offer you a better deal. If they're using words like deal, that's not a publisher, that's a hybrid publisher. And a self-publisher also can, but when you're looking at self-publishing companies, make sure that you are never sharing royalties with these people. Because if you share royalties, it means that they control your accounting. That's the short of it. So anyways, there's my rant, and there's my fast education on the 3 tiers of the industry. I really, in this scenario, I sympathize with any author who's gone with this company, because you've got your work cut out for you, and everything is figure outable. And I just hope you find the right team to make that happen for you. But anyways, I hope this serves as a cautionary tale for anybody who's watching, and thanks for letting me take a strip off these guys.